OTB.
Guys, I'm so excited to show you your space painting today. I just wanted to let you know how much I loved your last paintings. And remember, they don't need to look like mine. To me, my favorite part of teaching is that everybody's painting looks different. So you take what I show you and you hear me and you see it, and then you go for your own thing. Like, to me, that is the most exciting part of teaching, okay? So remember, you don't have to finish this in one day. You guys could start it, stop it, and come back to it. It's totally up to you. The more time you take, the more realistic it looks. But hey, if you're like, I want to sit down and finish it, go for it. So I'm using paint paper. You can choose canvas or paint paper. It's totally up to you. I know the paint paper starts to curl, so you can always tape the bottom down, which is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm using duct tape. I would suggest just regular tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of give my sides the bottom of it like a little tape, because it starts to curl up and I want it to look good for the video. So I don't have to worry about moving it. So that's a little tactic you could do. Don't do it on the front, but you just roll it up like that and put it on the back. It just kind of helps. Okay, you can even put on the corners. All right, so we're gonna sketch out, you're gonna get a pencil with an eraser, and we're gonna go ahead and sketch out the planets, okay? So there's so many different ones I was looking at. I wasn't sure where to go, but let's start with this one. This one seems kind of cool. And it's a little more simple. So you can use the bottom of something, like I got my hydro flask here. You can use the bottom of something like that, or you can just sketch out a circle. So I'll show you both ways. So I'm using the bottom of a hydro flask. You might not want to use a hot item. And so here, I'm gonna go this way, and you wanna make sure they connect. You have to keep your pencil straight, because once you put it in an angle, then it'll be different. And it still won't be perfect, and that's all right. So see, I've got that round one there. So you could pick a cup or something. Just an empty cup is probably good. I just happen to have that right there. And then if you did want to sketch a circle, I'll show you how I do that. So I take my time, little by little, and I just keep rounding it out. And it's not gonna always end up perfect. Now remember, I do this all the time. So mine might end up a little bit better or a little bit more circular than the one you make. But see, even right there, I messed up. So I just kind of go over it. And I'm not even worried about erasing. It really does have to be perfect. And then I can go in and just kind of shape my circle. So again, feel free to pause. So you could pause on that big one right there after you use it. After you use that, what's it called? The cup. All right, so after that, we're gonna kind of go in. I wouldn't always line this out, but let's do it. We're gonna do a small little circle right around here. And it's kind of good that I don't try to line them up perfectly. It's good that they're kind of floating in different areas. Right, so I got that small one there. And then, right here, I'm gonna do one over here in the corner, kind of up above this one. A little small one. Right, okay. And then over here, I'm actually gonna do kind of like a crescent. Oh, it's a little big, you see. Over here, I'll do a smaller crescent closer. Let's get it. See, I make mistakes. That's what erasers are for. So I'm gonna go about right here. And it's not a perfect crescent. You don't want it to be too perfect. You're kind of just doing like a little half circle, then you can outline it a little like that. Okay, and this is gonna have rings around it. So you wanna leave enough space. So leave some space around it. This will have some rings around it, okay? All right, so go ahead and you can pause there and get all of those down. And you can add another little planet if you'd like. It doesn't have to be super scientifically accurate. We can kind of use fantasy and our imaginations. Awesome. So now we're gonna again, we have our palette. I know my palette's a little crazy, but you're gonna just need those 5 colors, which is yellow, red, white, blue, and black. If you have any extra colors, go for it, add them, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna color in the background part. So again, this is another black background. So remember, letting it dry is probably a good idea before you apply the other things. So what you can do is start with that one part, let it dry. The paint paper seems to dry the fastest though. I've noticed it kind of dries. You guys could set it aside, have a snack, or go play, or do chores, or whatever you're gonna do. And I'm gonna take my black like this. I don't need to put it on my other plate, but I'm kind of like straightening out, pointing out my brush. And I'm gonna go around my planet. Same thing I kind of did for that guitar. So it's kind of cool that we're getting extra practice on these specific techniques that I've been wanting us to do, but we haven't had a painting to do it yet. You know, we just started art. So this is actually really cool. So I'm gonna take my time. Remember, I'm going faster. Why? Because I do this all the time. So you go ahead and take your time. I'm going around everything I painted. And if I need to switch to a smaller brush, especially for the crescent, it's totally fine. So again, I'm going around these, just tracing. It's okay if you accidentally make it a little smaller. It's kind of just placing. See, I accidentally made that one smaller, no biggie. And so with this little crescent, I feel like I need a smaller brush. So I'm gonna take this little guy, and I'm gonna lightly go in here. Whoop, yep. And I got a little too much water on my brush, but that's all right. So I'm gonna go around him like that. And with my little brush, I'm actually gonna bring out the black around him a little more, just because it's so tiny. So I wanna give myself some more room to get near this, okay? Now what I'll do is I'll take a large brush, this middle-sized brush, whatever, and you're literally gonna color all of that in. So go ahead and color that all in. Sometimes for videos, if I want to keep filming and don't really want to let it dry, I could take some kind of paper towel and dab off any of the excess paint. With black, you're not going to get rid of so much that you lose it. Just be careful not to wipe through like the planets there. And so, you know, I go through and I take off any excess paint if I'm like, I am like wanting to paint more. I don't want to just wait forever for this to dry. Let it sit for a minute. And then you could wipe off any excess paint or dab off any excess paint like that. So I'm just kind of showing you a trick that I use when I'm filming, but you can use it, you know, even if you're not filming. I use it when I'm filming when I don't want to stop and I want to keep going and I'm like so excited about a painting that I don't want to, you know, stop filming. So here again, I'm taking off all that excess paint. So that is something that you could take your time to do. Just be careful not to wipe off, wipe in front of any of your planets, okay? Like I did a little there. All right, so you could do that if you want, or you could just let it sit for a bit and dry. All right, so once it's sort of dry, it doesn't have to be perfect. You could see mine is still a little bit wet in some spaces, but we've got some pretty dry areas here. We can start on the next part. Okay, so my next part, I'm gonna go ahead and go in with probably, with a background, with these crazy cool, like bright clouds, okay? So I'm gonna let's start off by making the color I'm seeing a lot of and I think would look really cool. And so you can either get a brand new paintbrush or you can rinse off your other brush really well. A lot of water, and then you know those paper towels are helpful for wiping off any extra color. Especially once you got in black, you can even change your water at this point if you wanted. I don't usually, but you can because the black takes over. So I'm gonna take a big giant dollop of yellow, right? And then I'm gonna take a little dollop of blue, okay? And even a little dollop, or a pretty good sized dollop of white, okay? A lot of yellow, just a tiny bit of blue, a decent amount of white. Spin it around, and I should be getting this pretty, like really bright color, okay? So that's why I wanna make sure it's mostly yellow. It creates like a neon color, okay? Okay, so now with that neon, I'm gonna take it, woo! And I totally spilled a glob there. Whoops. No, it's okay if that happens. So I'm gonna take that cool green and I'm gonna kind of make these really interesting clouds in the corners. So I know this is kind of unique and a little different than all like space pictures you see, but we're kind of going for a somewhat of a fantasy look here, kind of make it fun. Notice I'm dabbing these clouds, okay? And they're not perfect puffy clouds like you see in like Mario Brothers, if you've ever played that game, or cartoons. They're kind of like different. And a lot of times they're thicker in the middle, and they kind of thin out at the edge. And then if you're running out of paint, and it's actually a good thing because clouds, some of them are really faded. So I kind of let myself run out of paint, and they're just puffy scribbles. And I like to lift my brush a lot, dab it like a, kind of like a stamp, okay? So I'm adding this throughout wherever I feel. I'm noticing a lot of them over here on the corners. Okay, so you can put them on the corners there. And on this corner, a little bit on this side, not too much. And it's actually, again, good if my brush is running out of paint a little. Okay. And then here. And here. Right up to that one. And again, it doesn't have to be exactly like mine. Different is good. It's how we learn. I've got some over here, okay? And I'm actually like feeling like I want to make it more blue. So I'm gonna mix in some blue. I just took a glob of blue and mixed it in with my green and a glob of white. So now it's like a lighter bluish color with a little bit of green like that. And I'm gonna add that a little bit on top of my green, a little, so to give it that blue look too. Okay, you don't have to do that, but I'm just like feeling like, oh, I wanna add some kind of blue to it. I feel like that would be nice. So I'm just adding little touches of like a blue to it, which in my head feels like it would look really nice, which I am liking as I'm adding it. Again, if you're like, nah, I'm good with my green, you don't have to. And if you're like, I don't really want green, you could do blue or another color. Okay. And now one thing I can do, it's a little messy, so you could take something else if you don't want to use your hand. Having it on my hand and kind of smearing, see how it like smears out to where it looks transparent? I kind of just shake my hand. That's a good thing. So I'm kind of putting my finger on the brush, getting a little color, and you could see that it's kind of fading out and looking really transparent, if you can see that. Kind of gives it a more mystical look, kind of fade it. So it doesn't look as thick as what I'm applying. So it should look kind of misty. There you go. And I'm going near my other ones and just kind of like smearing them out or dabbing them out. And again, you can watch me and then pause and say, what is she really doing there? So we got some mist here. Okay, not put too much of this color because we've got some other colors to add, okay? So now we're gonna go in and we're gonna add, how am I gonna do this? Yeah, let's do this color first. So now I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna make like a fuchsia color. So kind of like a pinkish purple. So I clean off my brush again. Almost dipped my brush in my tea, not good. Don't accidentally do that. I'm gonna move this a little. Okay. So now I'm gonna go in and clean off my brush. To make my fuchsia, you know, I've got my red. I'm gonna make my pink first, okay, which is red and white. I'm gonna add a little bit of blue. I always add just a little bit of the dark color to build up first. So that made like a purple, and I'm like, whoops, might have been too much blue. Some more red, getting closer, scoop of white. Oh yeah, that's a good color. There you go, like a pinkish purple. All right, and so what I wanna do, I wanna get rid of a whole bunch of paint. See how I'm getting rid of it? You can do it on a plate, napkin, whatever you want. So I'm getting rid of all this paint because I want it to be see-through. See how it's see-through right there? And over here it's all thick. We want it see-through. So once it's kind of dry and see-through, I'm gonna add it to different places on my paper or canvas. So you want it to be a little transparent. So now I'm adding that pink and little blotches to different places. Again, it's really see-through. So I just take a little paint and I let it run out of paint as I dab it out. And so I'm adding that to different sections down here. There's still puffy clouds. It's just a very little paint on my brush so that I can see through it a little. I can see that black through it. Okay, so I'm adding that in different places. And if I add it really thick, I can fade it out. It could be thicker in some parts and thinner in some parts. See? It does not have to be perfect, okay? No, honestly, these kind of skies are really, like, they take a while to get used to. It's kind of like galaxy skies. Now I could go in a little darker in certain areas, wherever I want, to kind of make the shape of a cloud with some of this. So I'm going to go like where I'm really faded, and I'm just going to kind of add a little cloud in front of it. The ones that are faded look maybe like they're further away. And I've got some extra little pink clouds. I'll fade the bottom maybe. Okay. Again, this is my technique. You can add different stuff. Awesome. So now we got that really cool pink on there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually go for kind of like a yellow. So I'm going to go with some straight yellow, and I'm going to add some right here. Just some like faded clouds. Same thing. So this is another way to do that faded look. If I don't want to get rid of the paint first, I could put it on there and then fade it out with my hand. Or I could just do what I did before and get rid of a whole bunch of the paint. Whoop, that yellow's a little diluted, but okay. So I could get rid of a bunch of the paint and then go on here and add some yellow in some random places. My brush has a little bit of pink on it. Okay, I'm not putting too much in the middle. It's mostly at the sides of adding these kind of colorful things. All right. Awesome. And so that mist is really important, having the see-through misty stuff. So I can add a little more with my pink. I want it really faded. I want to be able to see the black through it. Nice. All right. So now I know it looks a little strange right now, but you know, we're getting there. And so now we're going to go in with some stars, which is a whole lot of fun. And so I know you guys probably did this before, so I'm going to show you two different ways to do stars, and you could kind of choose what you're going to go for. So I have these chip brushes. If you need me to drop any off for you, just let me know. That are great for flicking. However, you can use any kind of brush that you think might look good. If it's frayed like that, even better. If not, you can use almost any brush. Mostly a flat or like bigger brush. I dip it in water so it's really drippy, see? Then I dip it in my white. It's okay if I have a little like blue or green. You can see I kind of do. And so I want it really drippy like that, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and flick. But I don't wanna flick too big. I'm just like softly flicking. Again, just like kind of like we did for the guitar, but these are more like star-like. You don't wanna flick too big. If I flick too big, it looks like a splatter. I'm really softly pulling the brush back to get these little stars. Be careful not to get any of your mom's stuff. So get a few stars in there, right? After you get those stars in, here's a second way. So now you got like some little tiny stars. And now you could either turn your brush around and use the bottom of the brush, or you could use the small brush, it doesn't matter. The bottom of the brush you have to keep adding. And you may want to make sure when you apply stars, you hop over like to the opposite side. See? Because if I start doing them really close together, then they just start to look like a line of dots. A lot of people start going so you just want to like hop in different directions. And the less you push down, you get smaller stars. And then the bigger you push down, you get a bigger one. So push down light, and some of them push down hard, so they're all different sizes. And you're going to also include these stars in some of the clouds, because these are like little galaxy clouds. So you should be able to see them in some of the clouds, okay? Mostly at the edges or in the really transparent parts, right? So you're gonna add as many stars as you'd like. Okay, and remember you could pause and say, all right, star time. Alrighty, so once you got those stars, we're gonna color in our planets, all right? So I'm gonna take, hopefully I still have some of this left. If I don't, I could just make it again of this like neon green. Now, if you have neon colors, I would use that for what I was painting. So I've got this bluish green here. I'm gonna add some yellow to it to bring out that green a little more, make it really neon. This yellow should make it kind of neon. Big scoop of white to really make it neon. Oh, there we go. So the white and yellow really help with making a neon. So I've got this neon green, might even add a tad more blue. There we go, neon bluish green, all right? A lot of yellow, ton of white, little bit of blue, okay? And I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna trace just the top half of it, like that, okay? All right, ooh, I see there's something else I should do. Actually, before you do that, you could do that, it's no big deal. I would take in a blue, just a regular old blue, and fill my whole planet in with some blue, or not, half of the planet in. Fill this top part in with some blue, regular old blue. Mine kind of mixed in, it looks nice. And the bottom half, I'm gonna fill in with like a blackish blue. So I don't wanna do it all black so it blends into my background, but I have a little blackish blue right here. See, like a lot of black, just a little blue. And I'm gonna kind of dip that like it looks like a smiley face. And I'm gonna color that in first before I do my neon thing, okay? It's okay that the colors are mixing, that's actually a good thing, okay? So you color your big planet like that. Let's color in all planets and then we'll add the little details. So for the one right here, I'm gonna go in with like a purple, so blue and red. And I'm kind of keeping a little black in there. And I'm gonna dab it in a little on the side, right? And go ahead and on the other side, same thing. So it's like a darkish purple. You're gonna color this whole thing in. The thing is, you wanna make sure it's not too dark where you lose it. You wanna make sure you can still see your planet shape, okay? Awesome, I know it's pretty dark. Okay, and this one here, really easy. Let's do this other one first so that I don't make it too hard. So same thing, that dark purple, you're gonna do on this back little planet over here too. And again, don't make it so dark where you lose it, but it's kind of like a dark purple. I know it's really hard to see, but it's right there. All right, I'm gonna really clean my brush off really good. And I'm gonna take either a small brush or same brush, whatever works for you. And I'm gonna take some white, all right? And I'm going to color this thing in white, okay? Again, mine has a little purple or something in it, no big deal. Now, I don't want this to be a straight circle, so I'm gonna start in the middle. Don't go to the sides. And I'm gonna lightly blend out, and then I'm gonna dab the corners. Okay, so see how it starts to, and I'm gonna lightly go further out. As I go, I keep going further out. Do you see how it starts like making it kind of blend outward? So it's not perfect. So it should be really white in the middle. And as I blend the edges, it should kind of like fray out a little bit where we could see through it. Really white in the middle, frays out. If you don't get that perfect that time, that's okay. Like, it takes practice. Again, I've done this a bunch of times, okay? So just do your best. And see, I even messed up right there, but now I'm just gonna make it glow even more on the sides. See? Nice, so this is gonna be like a really cool glowing orb, which will be a whole lot of fun, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing to one of my big stars, and I'm gonna dab it and kind of go in a circle and let it kind of blend out a little bit. So it should be like a smaller version of that. Bink, and it should be white in the middle. So it should be like a little dot and then fade it around it, okay? So there we go. You pick any star, it doesn't have to be that one. And you could do a couple of them, they're gonna be really neat. So I'm gonna do another one over here where it kind of blurs out, and then I'll put one in the middle, beep. One dot. I'll do one over here too. A blurred out thing. And then I'll go deep. And those are going to be really pretty glowing stars after. Okay. So you let those sit for a minute. All right, now I'm going to take some white since I've got my little brush. And I'm going to add little points to it. Very tiny. You can use a toothpick if you need. So it's an X right through it. I mean a cross, more like a cross right through it. Some people put an X through it too, if you want. I'm just gonna do a cross. But if you want, you can do an X through it. And the middle part's like really, like a shiny dot there. Nice, it just adds a little more depth and something different to it. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go back to that color I made, that bright yellow neon color. I hope you saved it. So it was mostly yellow, ton of white, a little bit of blue. Okay, what I'm gonna do is take a thin brush and I'm gonna do swirls like this. They're like happy faces, so they're like half circles. So I got a swirl in the middle like that, like a curl. And I swirl. And some of them aren't complete. Some of them stop like in the middle, then start from the bottom. So you've got these like little swirls up at the top. See? And that bottom layer just adds some depth for it. Now if I get a little bit of color, just let it kind of flow into the bottom darker color too. You don't want to see that straight line. Okay, so it kind of flows into that bottom color there. See that? So you got all those swirls. Now don't go all the way down. Now I'm gonna do like a light blue, which is just blue and white. It's okay if I get a little of that other color on. So I'm gonna do some swirls of blue that kind of mix in, and they're all kind of like going this way, all right? Again, yours could be a little different. It's no big deal. Just try to stay curved with the sides like that. Right, and the bottom I'm gonna do a purple, which is just red and blue. Any type of purple, red and blue. I can add a little white if I need to lighten it. I added white to mine, and I'm just gonna do, I'm adding white just so that you can see it. Red, white, and blue. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in with that purple here. I want it to be real bright at the bottom, real vibrant. You can see that purple right there. Doesn't feel vibrant enough to me, so I'm gonna go in with some more white and make it really light. There we go. So it's almost like a white purple at the bottom. So that way I can see the whole sphere there. There we go. So you've got that twisted, really cool planet. If I want it to make it look like it's glowing a little, I can even add streaks of white in there. So some like maybe in the middle, I can add some streaks of white throughout the planet. I think that might look kind of cool. And my white, especially if it's mixed with other colors, it looks good. So when I say white, I rarely mean pure white. I'll tell you if I mean pure white, but look at mine. My white is all like smudged up. Don't worry about that. And I just keep going on with thick until I run out of it. So there's that one planet up there. Let's go to this back planet here. So look, wipe off my brush a little. And I'm gonna actually take a little white, and I'm gonna do the same thing I did here. I'm gonna fade it out. Add a little dot, and I'm gonna kind of dab it till it fades a little. See how it looks like it's kind of like glowing a little bit. You wanna not blend it too much or else it'll go away. But you can see, oh, there we go. That looks more like it's glowing. Dot, and I dab it very lightly. Try not to add too much white like I just did. And I'm gonna do the same on this one over here. I'm gonna do like a dot up here at the top and just fade it out. It's okay, look at mine has blue in it. It actually looks good. Fade it out, okay? Go ahead and do those two. Nice, all right, and again, pause wherever you'd like. So now I'm gonna grab some white, some yellow. And I'm gonna go and dab around the corners here. And I'm gonna do the same thing, just dab in a little yellow on the corners. So you could really see the curve of my planet there. You can kind of see it. There we go. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm gonna lightly outline my planet in that yellow there. So you could really see that circle. There you go. It's kind of like a yellowish back there. Nice. And if I want, I could add any other colors. Like I'm gonna put some like more purplish pink on it and just keep adding it to that circle till it looks good to me. And I'm even gonna outline a little white also, kind of do like a little highlight of white around it. Okay? And then over here in the front, I'm gonna take some yellow and add that maybe like kind of in the middle by the white. Kind of dab that in. You can see I kind of accidentally went out. And I'm even gonna take that yellow and I'm gonna lightly kind of outline at the bottom. See? And I even fade that a little. Trick is learning how to fade things with your finger. And again, that takes a whole lot of practice. I'm not expecting you to get that all right now. Then I'm gonna take some pink, and I'm gonna add some pink to the curve of this orb here. But since I don't want it to be too perfect, I'm also gonna dab the pink out a little to almost look like more clouds in that little planet. And I just keep adding different colors. Like now I'm gonna add some purple this side here, and I just kind of fade them in so they don't look too perfect. And then the white is really important. I like adding extra white here and there because it actually looks like it's glowing. Like right there. See? And I kind of keep doing that till it looks good to me. And again, it's gonna just take practice. And if you get frustrated, take a break, okay? Remember, you can always message me and say, I'm having trouble with that one part. Can you help? I'm happy to help, okay? Awesome. So then again, you could just dab in little different colors till it looks good to you, okay? And again, I'm gonna do the same thing. I like to outline in white once I'm done. Not perfectly outline, but I add little highlights like that. And sometimes letting them dry, let them sit for a minute. If you're like frustrated with one part, let it sit. And then you can go over it easier. See, and I kind of outlined in white. And you could really see that planet there. All right, to make it look a little realistic, I might even take some of this green and add like a cloud that kind of goes over it, just so it makes it look like the cloud's not going, excuse me, planet, I won't go in front of you. You can kind of add like little things like that so it looks nice. All right. Awesome, let's get this glowing guy down here. And you know what I'm gonna use? I'm gonna use this giant yellow that I dropped here. I'm gonna scoop it up. You can use a brush, you don't have to use your finger like I do. And I'm gonna just dab in the middle. See, I just put one dot. And I'm gonna start to fade out a little bit, not all the way. Fade out just the edges, just the edges. So now see how I've got some yellow glow right there. You see that? Should look like it's glowing. Now I'm gonna go ahead, I'll show you a new plate. I'm gonna go ahead, ooh, you know what I forgot to do? So I'm gonna add some yellow down here. I just saw that. Down here to my sphere to really show like, hey, this is it, guys. Look at the planet. Okay, you want to keep it real thin to the bottom part. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of take a big scoop of yellow. Again, mine's mixed with colors. I'm not worried about it. A tiny scoop of red. Mix it in to get like a fiery color, maybe a little more red, because I want some more fire. Like an orangish fiery color. Mine might be kind of dull because they mix together. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna add that to the edges here. Little dots right around your yellow, and then you're just gonna dab that out too. So it has some red fire kind of going around it. See? Almost looks like a flower. And it's like these fireballs kind of, remember how you did the fire on the guitar? Kind of like sticking up in different areas. That. I can even add some pure red if I want to really show this is like this crazy fire. And there we go. Nice. And again, if I mix some of my red and my yellow in, it actually looks cool. I actually did that and I like it. I like that you can't really tell where it ends and begins. So now with that other orange or a different type of orange or the same orange, I'm going for a lighter orange, so I'm adding some yellow in the corner. And I'm gonna do this little part right here. I'm gonna start to spin, and you could take your time, like that. Then this one will go, whoop, like that. And then we've got from here, the side. This side here. Okay. You can add as many little streaks around it as you want. Awesome. So there's only one last little step. But I hope you enjoyed your video. I hope it wasn't too hard. If they're hard, you just let me know and I'll do my best to adjust them, okay? But I think trying these things that are hard and knowing they're not gonna come out exactly the way that we see them, that's okay. I want you to remember that's okay. One thing I did forget, sorry. I'm gonna take kind of like a white color, or just a white color, and color in this crescent. Okay, white. And I'm gonna add a little bit of just little streaks of yellow, maybe a couple streaks of orange if I want, or blue, whatever you feel like. So I put white. If you want to keep it white, go ahead. I put some yellow and orange in there. You can do whatever you want. A little crescent there. All right. Last but not least, we are going to do a really pale yellow, okay? So a pale yellow is going to be a lot of yellow. Actually, a lot of white, a little bit of yellow, okay? So you've got a lot of white, a little yellow. That's way too much, but oh well, we'll use it. So don't use as much as I did. But you can see that pale yellow right there. Looks like an egg, kinda. Okay, and you take a very skinny brush and you make it as thin as possible. Here's the scary part. This is like the strings on the guitar, the scary part. So twirl the edge of your brush like that to make it as thin and pointy as you can, okay? Okay, you could use a toothpick or really skinny brush if you want. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go from the back side, and I'm slowly sketching it. Go out, curve in. If you get nervous, you can always let your painting dry and sketch this first. You could sketch over paint. And you're gonna curve. And see, I'm kind of carving through that thick paint, right? And I'm gonna twist around. And I wanna kind of make sure I'm gonna be even with that. Oop, there's one. You can leave it at one, or you can add a couple rings. So I'm gonna add a couple rings. If you add a couple rings, you kind of want to start from back here really close, or just the same spot, and then start coming outward here instead of coming like way back here. And then you're gonna go whoop, spin it again. If it's really thick, I got to go on with thick paint, and it's like you're carving through that thick paint there, okay? Like that. And you're gonna curve around, and you could do 3 lines if you want, or just keep it for 2. Okay. And so this will be your final step. And so yeah, you could do 2 lines, 1 line, it's totally up to you. I went for 3. And remember, you're going in front of anything else that you see there, okay? So again, and I'm gonna curve it just like that. Awesome. So again, you could do 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. Hope you guys enjoyed the painting, and let me know what other suggestions you have. Maybe you can let, can't think of his name right now, but you could let your friend, you could let him pick something that he might want to paint. I'm excited to send you guys next week's. See you soon.